Well, hi, everybody. I'm Megan Anders, and I've been at River City for like 8 years, which is crazy. And as she said, I was asked to speak on my experience with City Group, and I love those people, so like, what a gift. But 2 years ago at River City, we relaunched our City Groups, and prior to this, there was 4 couples, and like over the years, it had evolved and changed. But for the better part of 5 years, like the 4 families were all together. And at the time of the relaunch, I was in a very fragile place, to say the least, in my life. It had been a very long time in a marriage separation for me, and I was also coming out of like months of debilitating mental health struggles. And like literally what was right before me at the relaunch was getting a divorce, selling my house, moving into an apartment, and even starting a new job after being with my previous company for 9 years. So I did not want a new City Group, if we're being honest. I didn't think I could do much more new in my life at that point. And even spiritually, I just really was like, I need a place that's like consistent, that like knows me. And so the morning of the relaunch, they sent a list of who was your new group. And I remember being like physically panicked because I didn't know anyone on the list, and no one like knew me, and knew the life that I had been living. And he's not here. God bless Tim Downey, y'all. It was, I think it was his very first Sunday as the community life pastor, and I approached him after church of the relaunch Sunday and to ask him to be moved to a different group right there in the lobby, and I couldn't get a word out. I was sobbing so hard. I could not breathe. And he is just standing there, and I had to excuse myself to a nearby classroom because I couldn't talk. I was crying so hard. And he was just like, "Are you okay? Should I get someone to help here?" You could tell he's a dad of 3 girls. And it's funny now, but like, honestly, I was petrified. I was so raw. And I just couldn't imagine like showing up with this complicated place in my life to this whole new group of people. So, spoiler alert, 2 years later, City Group's been amazing, and they've been this huge blessing in my life. And they're not just people that I see on Monday. They are the people I just can't wait to see when I show up here on Sundays. They're people I've grown to rely on, people that have helped me move, people that have literally picked me up at my home and nursed me back to health at theirs when I was too ill to care for myself, people who give me financial advice and life advice, who have become friends, who I shared meals with throughout the week, and people they're not just friends, like they're pillars in my life. And I think something that's really special, like I love our group so much. We're all very different, and there's 3 families that have been doing life together for like 20 years. And I just have to tell you, like, for us as a group to be able to see what them living in community has done for their families and their faith has been really incredible to like be alongside. And in our group, we have people that have aging parents, who have sick family members, who are newly married, who have never been married, who have really complex family dynamics, and like we get to do this together. And there's really been like a spiritual formation of family in our group, like spiritual moms and dads, spiritual brothers and sisters, and that's just been like really beautiful to be a part of. And over these 2 years, God's restored, thank God, a lot of joy in my life. And City Group was not just watching that, they got to be a part of that. And I have to be honest that a lot over this period I've asked, Emmanuel, where are you? And the answer has always been in the people around you. And, I'm really lucky that I have a great wider community, but I've gotten to see the Lord so much throughout the people in my City Group. And, staying connected to the body, that actually is what's kept me connected to God. And I think the other thing is that I get to be authentic in community group. It would be a disservice to not tell the truth that, since my separation, since my divorce, I've wrestled with a lot of aspects of my faith. And City Group's been a place to deliver those struggles in a safe space, those doubts in a safe space, those questions in a safe space. And I just would encourage people here, like, your walk doesn't need to look a certain way to live life in community. And I would even advocate to say, my previous City Group, those people are still some of my closest friends. And I just think that the truest and deepest friendships are birthed in authenticity and committed community. And so, I just hope that as we open these city groups up, I don't know where you are, but would you consider, making that commitment? And I just hope that your life is so richly blessed the way that mine's been. So thanks for letting me share.